trainers that didn't like me because I ran around like a normal kid. You know, you're 5, you run.
Yep.
My father then bought a house a couple of years later on Willow Drive in Neptune. Grew up in the Hamilton Gardens section. Went to Neptune High School, where I participated in athletics, with the main sport being wrestling.
Okay. Did you play soccer also?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Can't kick a soccer ball, but we won state championships. It was kind
There you go.
of interesting to get some of the athletes I had. My assistant coaches were excellent, and I learned how to coach the game from the most successful female coach in the history of the sport, Lucosa from East Brunswick, who taught me how to analyze the game and take it apart, and it really helped with my career.
Wow.
Wow. When we first met a couple years ago, we had probably an hour and a half conversation just about wrestling.
Right.
Because one, if you find another wrestler who's passionate about the sport, that's all you're going to talk about. And then what Michael did at South River was some incredible work with the guys that he had. I don't know if you want to talk about some of the success stories from the athletes.
Well, you know, we took a bunch of kids that were street kids, and we developed them into some pretty high-level athletes in the wrestling circle. I was surrounded by many good assistant coaches, good people, parent interaction, building a booster club and a fan club to help the wrestlers learn at very low levels, where they learned and succeeded to be very successful in the sport. You're only as good as the people around you. You know, you get the notoriety as the head coach, you get the notoriety as the broker, but everything's a team. You know, and my high school baseball coach actually taught me something very important. He taught me that people are people, but coaches make too many rules. And I've kind of lived with these rules throughout my life, being that you don't need a lot of rules, you need to focus on the ones that are important. And as a head coach, I had 2 rules. Rule number 1, I respect you, you respect me, from athlete to coach.
Right.
And rule number 2 was, when you look in the mirror, make sure the person you see did the best they could do for the team that day. And I don't think that's any different than the business world, where people take that person they see and make sure that person does the best they can do. You know, going back to wrestling for a minute, you might have a state champ on one end of the bench and a kid that barely can get on the mat.
Yeah.
Well, that kid that could barely get on the mat that day didn't get pinned. He can look in that mirror and say, I did the best I could do, coach. The state champ maybe didn't pin his opponent.
Yeah.
Did he do the best he could do? So I made sure the kids just focused on what they felt was important as an individual and as a team, and we grew together, and it was fun.
So that mentality, I bring my wrestling mentality to my mortgage business on a daily basis. Wake up early, don't get beat out by competition. If I could sleep at night because I tried hard throughout the day, I know that I'm doing everything right. Now that you are the broker of your own office, are you bringing that same mentality into the team?
100%. I'll give you a little background of how I got here, because I think it's kind of interesting. When I retired from education in 2005, the real estate market had peaked in May '05. And nobody realized that everybody was still trying to get the same values for their home that they had gotten into 2007, 2008.
Right.
Well, to become a broker, you have to be a full-time realtor for 3 years, which means you can't have a secondary job. And I was dual professional for many years and high pinnacle of success with different companies. So I got bored. So I decided to take my broker's test, went back to broker's class, passed the test with no intention of ever using it, just find something to do to keep me busy.
Right.
As the years progressed, working for some of the major companies in the area, I was introduced to a gentleman named Boyd Prasad, who is the main owner of Option One Group up in Newark, New Jersey. And Boyd wanted a secondary place down here and approached me to be the broker manager of it. In the beginning, I wasn't overly enthused with it. As I continued to get to know Boyd, I realized what a wonderful gentleman he was, and I welcomed the opportunity and the challenge. You know, one of the most difficult things, and this is where I did bring my coaching background into Option One Shore Realty, I think one of the most difficult things in real estate is you compete with everybody.
Yep.
Who is Option One Shore Realty? Who are we? Where do we come from? You know, you're competing against all the big guys, and you got to be successful to make a living for yourself and your employees. So when I was asked to go into this, I kind of did use a lot of my coaching background, and I'll give you some examples of what I thought was important. And my office is not about me. My office is about we.
Right.
You know, Bonnie Adjemi, my office administrator, is exceptional. She didn't know any real estate. She got trained. She's exceptional with people. She's exceptional with the staff. And because of people like that interacting with everybody, we've put together a real good group. So after we found a very visible location in the town shopping center on Route 35 in Oakhurst, we decided to make it as visible and attractive a place as we can for two reasons. One, to attract agents. Two, to attract customers to come into a warm, happy environment. When you walk in my real estate office, you see exactly what we tried to create. There's not a picture of a house inside. It's all beach scenes, shore scenes, white, bright, happy agents, happy people, warm greetings, team. It's not about me. It's about the team and how everybody works together. From that, we took the outside of our office and we created a very visible, lit up board outside where if you come there at night, you see 18 listings, 8.5 by 11s, and 2 featured listings in 24 by 24, all with the LED lights.
Right.
Okay.
So it has served as a real good way to promote our product and also a good way to bring people into our office.
I had a chance to come by and see your office, and I'll make 2 comments. One is just visually, it's a beautiful office. You did a great job, so congratulations.
Thank you.
It's definitely a cool place to visit. Looks like a great place to work, and it's got a great vibe in there. It's not your typical real estate office, so that's cool. But then I also saw the pride you had in showing everyone your office, which I thought was cool. And you had mentioned like you really weren't you were looking to kind of relax and maybe not do anything, but you really have renewed enthusiasm, I think, for the real estate business in the area. And you could see the passion and excitement you had about opening this new office.
The answer to that is yes, there's a lot of renewed passion, but that's a result of the people around me.
Right.
You know, you bring people in and you give them an environment that's conducive to work. You create relationships between people, and we have a very diversified staff, so we're able to service people from different areas, different walks of life, and different ways of doing things, which has really led to part of our success. We have an extremely knowledgeable staff. You know, when I was working for different companies, there were a couple of things I felt could be made better for people to learn. One of them was that many of the office meetings were listening to the manager. I changed that. Our office meetings today are morning or afternoon. We'll have a guest speaker talking about something relevant, whether it's a mortgage person, a title person, an attorney that specializes in some aspect of real estate, to educate the staff and make them more knowledgeable when they deal with the public. And it's been very, very successful. And the afternoon meetings are even better. You know, the meet and mingle, everybody gets to know each other. And through that, they've gotten to like each other and bring a lot of excitement to the office. They're happy to be there.
Right.
And, you know, I think the attractiveness and the interrelationships that have been perpetuated through the different people in the office really instill. And we're very careful who we hire because we want people that have the same mindset that we do. Of
course.
That we want to grow together and be together.
Yeah.
So when the office opened, why was Oakhurst selected as the location?
Well, we looked around. We started looking down in Neptune all the way up to Red Bank.
Okay.
First focus was simply to find a place that was visible where cars would stop and go for something.
Right.
So with a lot of our clientele, we felt this town shopping center was a very visible place with a lot of activity. You know, we have a very active donut shop, we have a very active coffee shop, we have
Right.
ice cream shops, you know, we have other things that draw people in.
And we'll give them a shout out because I frequent a few of those places. Igloo,
Yeah, they're good.
Igloo Italian Ice right on the corner is a good one. Rook Coffee, of course.
Broad Street Donut.
Yeah.
Yep. All good spots.
Right.
All good spots. And
So how do you keep your active figure with donuts and Italian Ice right on both sides? Of it?
I don't frequent them too much. Once in a while, when the grandkids are visiting me, we'll frequent the stops. But for the most part, you know, we stay in our own domain.
That's cool. So Oakhurst, I mean, I think so. You settled on Oakhurst because of the activity of the shopping center you found. But what about the local like real estate market? What's going on in those areas?
Well, the local real estate market, you know, is a very, very active market. You know, I've been an Ocean Township-based realtor for many years, so I have good knowledge of the local area. I've done a tremendous business there. I've done a tremendous Long Branch business, Tinton Falls business, you know, in all the different locales. And I think staying where you are and having a knowledge of the area where you can explain to people, take people, integrate them into the communities and give them knowledge of the communities is a very important asset of a realtor.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I'm able to do that.
Yeah. You know, I'm licensed throughout New Jersey to do mortgages, but I feel the same way. If I could focus in Monmouth County 99% of the time, that's what I want to do because I grew up in Mattawan. I now live in Eatontown.
Right.
I spend my recreational hours with my family and then the parks. I know the town, so it adds a sense of pride. And I think that the clients will see that directly from your office, from your passion, that you have that pride for the neighborhood. It's good. It's important to have.
Yeah, I moved into Long Branch in '71. I've been there since. Raised my children there, so knowledge of the community, living down by the beach, and you know, being a local shore resident most of my life keeps me in the areas that I know, and I know them very well.
Yeah.
And the majority of my staff, not majority, all of my staff is extremely knowledgeable about local areas and interacts real well with the communities.
That's awesome. How many agents do you have?
8.
8? Nice.
Yeah, we've done. That's a lot for 1 year.
And
we're
are you
proud of that.
actively growing, or you want it to grow organically?
I want it to grow with people that want to come work with us
Okay.
as a team, to grow with us with the same mentality of, a happy agent is a good person. People that are happy in their industry do well in the industry. People that come to work every day saying, oh boy, this stinks, they're going nowhere.
Yeah.
Right.
People that come in and say, what do I need to do to progress and get better?
Yeah.
Go everywhere.
Right.
And I think we have agents that are doing that. And with the ability to have our meetings with different people to come in and talk and listen and learn. And, like a couple of weeks ago, example, I had one of the leading short sale expert attorneys come in and talk to the office. It was a great learning experience for them because short sales are very difficult. So giving them the tools, knowledge of communities, allows us to grow.
That's awesome.
Right. So how did you originally get into real estate back when you were teaching?
That's kind of funny. I bought my first house in 1978 in Elbron, New Jersey for $53,000, which is kind of funny when you think about it with today's pricing.
Sure.
Wasn't a big house. It was a 1,800 square foot Cape Cod. So the realtor that sold me my house asked me what I did during the summer. And I said nothing, because I was typical. I think any teacher with no money.
It's either that or Monmouth Park. Somehow all my teachers always worked at Monmouth Park in the summer. It's funny.
Yeah, well, my answer was nothing. I had no money. I just had spent every dime I had buying my house. And my father-in-law, may he rest in peace, after the realtor asked me what I do and said, why don't you get your real estate license, paid for it. So he paid $25 for my first real estate license.
Cool.
And, because of that $25, I think it was a very good investment in my family and in my future. And, I always called myself dual professional, because if you have another job like a teacher, everybody thought you were a part-time realtor.
Right.
Well, we were not part-time realtors. We were working very diligently and, with God's help, having some success in the career.
So you were literally working full time as a realtor, or kind of like evenings, weekends type of setup?
Yeah, I worked a lot of full-time, spent, when I got done with school or with coaching, it was to the office. The weekends were dedicated to taking people out to show houses, listing properties. And thanks to a lot of different parts of my life, we were able to be successful at those things and grow.
And were you working at a agency in Monmouth County somewhere, or was it close to where you were teaching?
No. I've always been a Monmouth County realtor.
Right.
The realtor that got me into it, his name is Jim Caleo. I think Jim's still practicing down in Ocean County somewhere as a realtor. He was on Monmouth Road right near Old Orchard Country Club, and that's where I began. And I digressed out from him.
Right.
And then in '98, I decided it was time to join the bigger companies, and I moved on where we really got a little busier.
Right. So obviously you had success with. I mean, it worked, right? You've been a realtor for a long time. How did you connect with real estate? Like, was it right away, or did it take time to grow into it?
As I tell everybody beginning this career, you're competing with everybody. You're a rookie in a big field, and you need to learn how to utilize the tools that you have. You need to learn how to market yourself properly. You need to learn how to get into different types of groups. I've been a member of a networking group for many years, social organizations, going places where people get to know you and like you.
Right.
One of the companies I worked at was Weichert Realtors, and the main expression I learned from Jim Weichert was the following one, and I think this is an incredible statement. I've lived with it. People buy people before they buy product and company. And if you realize that you are representing you, even though you're representing a company, I think you have the ability to go out there and compete with anybody.
Right.
But knowledge is dangerous, and that's why, as I keep stressing over and over, when I work with my agents, I want to train my agents. I want them to be able to go out into the field with the knowledge they need, as well as know where to go to get the information they need.
Right. And you, I mean, you mentioned when you got in this morning, which I think is interesting, is you still walk the walk, basically, right? You've been doing this for over 30 years, but you were at a networking meeting this morning.
Yep, I was at my every Tuesday morning. I go to my networking group. It's called the Garden State Business Group. We meet at Perkins Pancakes in Neptune. It's a one-of group. For the last couple of years, I've been the president of the group, and I'm very involved with it. And it's been a tool that has given me a sales force because we work for each other.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we help each other, and it's things that help younger realtors or older realtors to continue to network, and you continue to grow and create friendships.
Yeah.
And I know one of your passions now outside of real estate is obviously your family. You have 2 sons, I think, and 8 grandchildren.
Yep, I have 2 sons and 8 grandchildren. My older son has 5 kids.
Wow.
4 girls and a boy, ranging in ages from 14 to 3. My younger son has 3 children, 2 girls and a boy, ranging from 8 to 2.5.
Wow.
They stay with me for the summer, which is really rewarding every morning to get up and, the rule is you give Grandpa a hug, you give Grandpa a kiss, say I love you, and I feed you breakfast. And it's a very worthwhile moment of my everyday mornings that I really look forward to every summer.
That's
It's humbling.
Cool. And what do you make them for breakfast?
Oh, I open the cereal box.
It counts, right? Milk and cereal.
Milk and cereal.
It's cooking.
Somehow there's something special about the way Grandpa does it. though,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like they'll
Yeah.
remember that for a long. Like I remember my grandparent, summer visits. It's awesome. So that's cool. What's it like? The difference between being a parent and a grandparent?
Well, everybody says you can't wait to get rid of the grandkids and have the ability to do that. I don't find that to be a truism. I think the difference is that you're at a stage of your life where you can concentrate more on what's valuable and what's important. And family is extremely important to me. And when my children were growing up, I mean, quite frankly, we were working hard just to support the family.
Yeah.
So your time away from home was very different than now.
Yeah.
Did your kids play sports growing up?
Yep, they went to a parochial school. My older son was a very good basketball player, baseball player, participated in Long Branch sports, at different levels. My younger son, he was a hockey freak, and later in life he joined some adult hockey leagues.
Nice.
He played, baseball in high school, and but even as an adult, as a parent, I remember my younger son, excuse me, the hockey league was in Red Bank at the arena. And the games were like 11 o'clock at night. And, where my wife and I were, they were watching them play.
Right.
Still your
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
So we were very involved.
Are any of your grandkids picking up sports now?
Absolutely. My older grandson especially just loves sports. He walks around the house pumping his arm like he's shooting a basket.
That's awesome.
He's engaged in a little league type of environment in baseball and having a lot of fun. It's by age and stuff. And that granddaughter loves tennis, and they're all growing in their own little areas and their own thing.
So you find yourself coaching them?
A little bit.
Yeah.
My daughter-in-law, is the coach of the baseball team. So
Okay.
she said, "Dad, you played baseball. What are some good drills I could teach the kids?" So
Right.
we sat down one night and went over some things, and hopefully that'll bring back some information to them.
That's cool.
Any wrestlers?
No wrestlers. Just hoop. That was a big conflict.
Well, how have you guys seen wrestling change as a sport, like over the years from, when you were coaching and then when you were participating? Like,
Yeah.
how different is it today?
Well, the first thing, I'm coaching now.
Right.
I'm a volunteer coach at St. John Vianney. One thing I've noticed from every team is numbers are down. When I went to St. John's, we had an A team, a B team, and then some weight classes had 3 kids per weight class. This year we had the 14 weight classes and then maybe 3 extra guys. So there's no depth to the team. And a lot of the teams that you talk to across the board, the big schools, they're down as well.
Right.
Not sure why. I don't think it's an attractive sport. It's a tough sport.
Right.
There's nothing sexy about wrestling, but it's a great individual sport. It's a great team sport. It's a great learning sport. But that's probably my biggest take I've seen. What about you, Mike?
Well, going back to the beginnings, when I was coaching wrestling, there was a lot less, of the clubs and the ability to learn out of season and really dedicate yourself to a sport.
Right.
So the kids back then played 3 sports. They do different things. They didn't concentrate on one sport. And as I evolved in my coaching career, a lot more specificity of sport came about. Kids chose what they wanted to do
Right.
and really dedicated to themselves 12 months a year. So with that advent, as well as a varsity coach being there, the kids had lots of club coaches also helping them grow and gain knowledge with the sport. And I think that was the big change that I noticed in sport as I coached for many years.
Yeah, every wrestler on the team right now goes to a club. So
Right.
we'll do practice at 3:30 to 5:30. They'll grab their bags and they'll go to the club. I went to Rhino after practice 3 days a week in Morganville back in the day. So, and it excelled the sport.
Right.
It's you get to the state level now, especially New Jersey, one of the best states for wrestling. The guys that you see in the finals, those are top-notch wrestlers throughout the country. They're that good.
Wow.
Yeah, we're certainly a good wrestling state. No
Oh,
question
100%.
about it. No question about it.
It's when I graduated in 2014 from University of Scranton, I put on my resume wrestling. It was something that I felt strongly about, that I wrestled my whole life, and I was going into the financial sector. I was going to become a financial advisor at first.
Right.
And the places I interviewed all brought up wrestling, and they all said they love hiring wrestlers because it's just a different breed of human.
Right.
And and it's true. And I'm hoping that by the time that the guys that I'm coaching graduate college, enter the workforce, if they need a job, I would love to get them into the real estate mortgage industry because
Right.
I know what they're made of.
They probably figure they can make you make cold calls all day long because the cauliflower ear won't get affected by the phone.
Yeah. Well, it's when I cold called Michael 2.5 years ago.
You did.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was when I first got licensed, and I was meeting local realtors, and
Right.
Circle of Excellence 17 times.
Right.
That's somebody I'm gonna call. And I used to pick up the phone and I would stand up in a wrestling stance before dialing, and I would dial the number, and then I would that was my warm up before
Right.
calling somebody that I don't do that anymore. I'm a little more comfortable on the phone, but.
Now, were you on the other side of the call with him, also in a wrestling stance?
Yeah.
No. But I think a lot what Mike is saying is really important because wrestling teaches you one thing. There is only you in the circle. Take
Right.
no prisoners.
Yeah.
But it also teaches you focus, teaches the ability to concentrate on what you're doing. And I think a wrestling mentality is something to bring to the business world because it really enables you to focus on what you're doing at the time.
Right. What do you think? Like, I get the sense you're. I mean, obviously, it's obvious you were a coach, but you have a lot of passion about educating people in general, but also the people you work with. What did you learn? Was it something from your parents that you learned that you carried with you in life? Like, where do you think that came from?
I think I was surrounded by a lot of good coaches when I was young, good guidance as to where to go, very strong support from different areas. I was kind of a loner in terms of what I did. I didn't worry about what the other guy did. I kind of would go along with what I wanted to do. Most of my friends went to Neptune. Neptune was famous for basketball, and the majority of them played basketball. I was one of the beginning wrestlers in Neptune High School's history back when I went to high school.
Wow.
And I didn't worry about other people. At 4'10", 98 pounds, I wasn't going to be a big basketball player.
Right.
But I was an okay athlete and just wanted a place to concentrate. And as I went through my career, both as an athlete, a coach, a teacher, a realtor, I think my wrestling background has enabled me to focus on things. And today I'm a little different. I really need to be surrounded by positive people.
Right.
I don't like negativity. I don't do well with it. I encourage the people around me to focus on the moment. What can we do to get better? I'm a cliche guy. Like one of my cliches in the real estate industry, and it's one that my office uses, is we don't sell houses, we find people homes.
Right.
A house is a structure. It's a place. It's got walls. It's got wood. A home is a place that's made up of family that engage and learn. So to listen to the needs of people, just like I did in education, trying to focus on things like I did in athletics, I think we've been able to find people a lot of homes and help people grow. And when you do that, you gain following from people because they know you have care and concern. And, it's something I've always tried to do and really tried to emulate to myself all my life.
Right.
It's a great outlook. It really is.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. So when you're not growing Option 1 Shore Realty, what do you do in your spare time, if you have any?
I don't have much.
Right.
I am the co-president of Congregation Brothers of Israel, very involved with my congregation, and with what goes on with that takes a lot of time. I set up all the weddings and bar mitzvahs and things for that. And we have an active social hall. I like to play golf. Haven't picked up my clubs yet this year.
Right.
I was talking to one of my friends today who said, "When are we going to play golf?" So I'm going to try. I might try to sneak away tomorrow and pick up those clubs and swing them a little
That's
bit.
cool.
Nice.
Excellent. So you've been a lifelong resident of this area. You've probably seen the booms and the busts and all of that. What are your memories of this growing up in the Shore area, and how do you think it compares today?
That's a very good question. Having grown up here, I went to Neptune High School. Back in the old days, we all used to, the Neptune athletes and the Asbury athletes all congregated on Springwood Avenue. And there was a pool hall over there. We bought our jeans across the street at a place called Fish's, which no longer exists. Then the riots of '69 came.
Right.
And when the riots came in 1969, both Asbury and Neptune really got decimated and beat up quite a bit. So seeing the ruination of something that I loved growing up was very devastating to me.
Right.
I was driving a taxi cab at that time and almost got stuck in the riots because I was just a young person that needed to work and support his family. Mm-hmm. So after '69, you watch the demolition and demise of an area that was such a great spot to grow up.
Right.
Wonderful places, the boardwalk, whether it was going to Avon, going to Belmar, going to Asbury, going to Long Branch, it was all good stuff. But it went straight downhill with the riots.
Right.
And now, as I've gone through my real estate career and having watched the rebirth of Asbury Park come and the rebirth of Red Bank, the rebirth of Long Branch, and all the positive things that are going on real estate and business-wise, it's a pleasure to see. It's nice to go back to these places. Mm-hmm. And when I visit these places, a lot of memories of me come to my mind. I'm going to bring a little bit of a Springsteen nut. And I remember going to the Upstage Club in Asbury Park that are in some of his songs. I remember sitting on the floor with Southside Johnny jamming and Bruce there, and all these other well-known musicians of the time. And seeing the rebirth of the areas and knowing what was there before is very gratifying to me because this is home. Mm-hmm. I'm not, we're not going anywhere. We like Long Branch, we like the people around us, but that's extremely important to see. And I think we're going to continue to see the growth of the Jersey Shore. Because in the real estate industry, I'll just end it on this part with that. What I'm seeing is that the baby boomers, being the biggest population in America, are sizing down. Mm-hmm. They're selling the big house up in Five Towns or Bloomfield or Teaneck or this one. They're buying a condo at the Jersey Shore. They're buying a condo in Florida, or they're moving to Delaware. They're going to North Carolina. So I think that's really helping spark our business and give us a real good customer base.
Right. And, it's... Oddly enough, I think what's going on in Long Branch gets a little lost in the shuffle of everyone always talks about Asbury. But there's a lot going on in Long Branch. What do you see happening there?
It's craziness there. The oceanfront of Long Branch is extremely desirable for a variety of reasons. There's different religious communities that concentrate on being there because of, walking to worship.
Right.
So you're seeing a large outgrowth of the people that I just spoke about buy those condos along the oceanfront. And now the oceanfront is extending all the way down to the Ocean Place.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the amount of condos and the growth there is just tremendous. With that, hopefully, we're seeing a rebirth of the Broadway area. There's a lot of talk about building. The West End School has become a playhouse, which is good for everything. The Brighton Avenue section, bars, restaurants, shops, the ice cream places are lined out the door. And that's what you want to see. You want to see the oceanfront full of people because we're seashore towns.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, the lighthouse is my go-to spot. You can't beat it.
It's a great spot, and it's always full of people.
Right, totally. And what about your hometown, or I guess your hometown of Neptune? What's going to happen there?
I think you're going to see in time. It's been a little slower growth pattern because you don't have the big business district of Asbury Park in Neptune.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to have to be a find of something that will help it grow again. Maybe down the road, years from now, and certainly going to take time, maybe that Springwood Avenue section will again have businesses and restaurants and bars that people go to. Ocean Grove is part of Neptune. Mm-hmm. And Ocean Grove is a very active community that's a wonderful seashore community. Right. And it's had continuity over the years. When I grew up, you couldn't drive a car or ride a bike or anything in Ocean Grove on Sunday. Right. The chains were up.
Yep.
Today, it's a different community, but those types of things are certainly gratifying to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw also in the news today actually that the Monmouth Mall is getting fully renovated by the Kushner Company.
Right.
Yeah.
I think 700 apartments or condos, whatever they're going to be, part
Yep.
of the.
Outdoor, indoor
Plan.
shopping.
Yeah.
You know, the whole nine.
Right.
Yep, no, that's all good stuff. And
Yeah.
then you go back to the oceanfront of Long Branch, got all these high-rise buildings of which the Kushner Company is part of.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
growing and developing, and that's all going to lead to more people coming into the city.
Right.
With people comes money.
Yep.
Yeah.
With money comes growth.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, as you can hear, like the growth in Eatontown also is insane. They're building up high rises all around us right now.
Yeah.
You can hear it.
Yeah.
in the background.
What's Fort Monmouth? They just turned an entire block of officer quarters
Right.
into high-end rentals on the Oceanport side.
Right.
They're really nice. Yeah.
Yep, and let's continue to grow. I mean, when Fort Monmouth closed, I mean, there was certainly a large migration of people out of the area.
Yeah.
Which had a negative impact on the businesses
Yeah.
on over here on Route 35 in
Right.
Eatontown.
Yep.
Hopefully, as that area grows again, those businesses could be revitalized.
Yeah.
Right.
This
Totally.
building that we're in right now, it's
Yep.
every week we come here, it's being worked on, and
Right.
you know, it's looking really good.
It is for sure. All right, so Mike, can you look into the crystal ball a little bit for us? You've been in real estate for a long time. What's gonna? I guess two things. One is, what do you see happening in like the next year? Kind of trends. Where do you see the market going? And then also, what are some? You know, we've talked about the obvious towns. Everyone knows Long Branch, Asbury. People looking for longer term opportunity. What are some hidden gems out there you would recommend?
Well, there's a couple parts to that question, and let's start with the first one of what do I see happening in the real estate market as we progress. We've been experiencing approximately 3% growth for the last 3 years, you know, in terms of value of homes. I think that's going to continue to happen. The biggest problem we have as realtors right now is there's not enough product. You know, since Hurricane Sandy, a lot of people rented their properties, have not put them back on the market because the rental incomes are good.
Yeah.
And a lot of homes, more in Ocean County than in Monmouth County, got destroyed. And as those homes got destroyed, many of them have not been rebuilt.
Yeah.
So hopefully those areas will continue. Another thing I've seen is that a lot of teardowns along water. Water has become more and more popular for high-end homes.
Right.
And people are taking a lot of those smaller, low-end homes, both in Monmouth County and in Ocean County, and putting beautiful, big properties there and bringing in a lot more people for them. Down the road, I think we're going to see growth out based on transportation. So I think since one of our main transportation hubs now for the city is the ferry in the Highlands and Atlantic Highlands, we've seen growth in those areas
Yeah.
because of the ability to get to New York and the proximity to New York that way.
Right.
I think as the trains continue to improve and electrify going south, as the train lines go, you'll see growth down that way.
Right.
I mean, the Point Pleasant, Bricktown area has grown exponentially.
Sure.
And I think will continue to. And I think the western part of our counties has afforded people with larger land, bigger houses at a more economical price for the most part.
Right.
You know, in the Manalappans, the Marlboroughs, et cetera. And I think we'll see continued growth in that way there. I think Monmouth County is so centrally located with the ability to get so many places that we'll see continued growth.
Right. Any towns in Monmouth County you would highlight?
Well, I think the demographics in a very positive way in Tinton Falls has improved. It's continuing to grow. I think Eatontown's going to follow it. I think rebirth of business in these areas is
Yeah.
going to continue to help with those things. And obviously, you know, Red Bank led the way.
Yep.
So the Rumson, Fairhaven, Little Silver Market that feeds on the Red Bank bar, restaurant, shop, and everything,
Right.
and the uniqueness of many of those shops to go there and have a nice day is a wonderful thing. And I think with the Asbury Center going all the way south and the Long Branch Center coming right in the middle, we're going to get a lot of groupings of things and continued growth.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's all exciting.
It
It
is.
really is.
I think
We're in
it's
a
great.
prime area.
We are in a great
Yeah.
area.
Definitely. Mike, thanks for coming in today. It was awesome to learn about, obviously, your wealth of experience, and we appreciate you taking the time to come in with us. Once again, you can check out Option One Shore Realty at option1shorerealty.com. That's option, the number one, and shore, SHORE, realty.com. They're also on Facebook at option1shorerealty.com. Michael Danziger, you can find him on there. Mike, your office is there. It's 2005 NJ Route 35 in Oakhurst. Is there a name of that shopping center?
It's the Town Shopping Center in Oakhurst, and please come in, and we call ourselves a shore experience because we've designed our office after the word shore. Come in and see our pictures of the beaches and the oceans. Stop by for a cup of coffee, meet the staff, and we welcome all of you to come visit us.
Awesome.
Grab a donut. You
Grab
know,
a donut.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Totally. Once
Spent
again,
a whole day there.
for sure. Mike Danziger, thanks for coming in. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
I'm Evan Balmer. You can find me online at balmerlawgroup.com, on Instagram at Evan Balmer.
Mike Mercia, you can find me on Instagram at mortgageguy_Mike. Thank you so much.
Thank
Really
you
appreciate
again
it.
for having
Thanks
me.
a lot.
Take care.